I've heard from the Russians not only once or twice, but 3 times, and they are insisting that their knife sharpener is the best in the world. Well, I don't know if it is or not, but we're about to find out. We'll test 9 knife sharpeners to see which one makes the sharpest knife edge. Then we'll test the durability of the sharpened blades after coming in contact with some hardwood. Finally, we'll turn some scrap metal into a knife and use the sharpeners to put a sharp edge on it. Is it possible that this $4 knife sharpener made by Smith's is just as good as the most expensive brand, which cost around $900? Well, let's find out. The Smith's is designed in USA and made in China. Non-slip rubber feet for added safety. To compare the sharpeners, I'll be using these high-carbon stainless steel chef's knives, which are made of Japanese steel. They look very sharp under a microscope. These are supposed to be very sharp, so let's test the sharpness of the knives. Very nice, but not a precise way to measure sharpness. Let's test the knife sharpness again. To test the sharpness of the knives, I'll be using a BEST certified sharpness tester. I'll be using these test clips. There's a piece of test media running from side to side. The BEST certified sharpness tester is going to measure the downward force it takes to cut through this test media. The sharpness tester comes with a sharpness chart. A double-edged razor blade is very sharp at about 50. Utility razor blades between 150 and 200. High-end cutter edges are between 250 and 350. A knife that needs sharpened is around 400. A common butter knife is very dull at around 2,000. 135, this thing's as sharp as a razor blade. The knives are too sharp for testing the sharpeners. So let's dull them running the blades across this aluminum pipe back and forth 5 times. I'll add 2.5 pounds of weight on top of the blades just to make sure we cause plenty of damage. Sounds a lot like fingernails scratching a chalkboard. All the knives should be very close to equally dull. The knife edge experienced quite a bit of damage. Let's test the sharpness of the dulled blades once again. 1,160, these knives are extremely dull. Before we sharpen the knives, I'm going to use a permanent marker on each one of the dulled blades so we can get a better look at the blade edge. Let's go ahead and sharpen the knife with the Smith's. 3 to 4 strokes through the carbide sharpening slots will restore the edge on a very dull knife. We're going to test that. I'm going to spend right at 1 minute with the ceramic rods. The ceramic rods have a preset angle which provides a smooth finished edge. And the Smith's went to work on about 1/3 of the knife's original bevel. Unfortunately, the knife edge looks pretty jagged. 175, not bad for $4. At a price of only $12, the second least expensive brand we'll be testing is made by Speedy Sharp. Made in USA with Micro 100 high-grade carbide. World's fastest sharpener. We're going to test that. Can sharpen any blade, knives, garden tools, fishing hooks, scissors, axes, hatchets, and more. Compared to the Smith's, the Speedy Sharp is definitely more compact. Hold knife sharpener at a slight angle to the knife edge and tilt it away from the knife surface. Slide sharpener from the handle to the point. Repeat the same procedure with the underside of knife edge. Honing the blade is basically the same procedure as sharpening, but reverse the position of the sharpener. Wow, the Speedy Sharp is very fast, only at about 15 seconds. It looks like I was able to get very close to match the original bevel. 175 for the Speedy Sharp, almost as sharp as the original edge. Testing the Lansky again this time since it did very well in the previous video. At a price of only $78 is this Lansky knife sharpening system. Knife clamp with ankle sensor, 4 guide rods, 4 diamond sharpening stones. The Lansky is made in USA. Loosen the front screw 4 full turns with a dimer screwdriver. Using fingers only, tighten the rear thumb screw all the way and then loosen 2 full turns. Place knife in jaws of clamp. Pinch jaws of clamp with your hand while tightening the front screw. Fully tighten rear thumb screw to lock the knife in place. Unscrew wing screw and feed guide rod from bottom up. Make sure hone and rod are flush with flat surface. Using finger pressure only, tighten screw on hone holder to hold rod securely. With the Lansky, you can choose 17, 20, 25, or 30 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and choose 17 degrees. Beginning with the core stone, insert the guide rod into the angle hole that you've selected. Push the hone against the edge while moving the hone towards the tip of the blade, covering 2-inch section of blade per stroke. Lift the hone and repeat. Sharpen one side first, then flip the entire clamp over and sharpen the opposite side using the same number of strokes on each side. Repeat this process using each of the sharpening stones, finishing with the fine diamond. Many knife sharpeners leave a burr on the edge of the blade. A stropping leather and some rubbing compound removes the burr and cleans up the freshly sharpened edge. I applied a total of 10 strokes to each side to remove the burr for each one of the sharpeners designed to benefit from stropping. And the Lansky did an amazing job a year ago, and the bevel looks very nice. 95 is sharp, very impressive. At a price of $85 is this Warthog Classic 2 sharpening system. The Warthog is manufactured in South Africa. Dual rods can be adjusted from 20 degrees to 25 or 30 using the angle slots located at the bottom of the inner slide frame. The blade guide is preset in the upright position, and it should be possible to sharpen most knives without any adjustment. Unclip the top of the dual rods, then set the rod in one of the 3 slots. Ensure both rods are set to the same angle. Keep the blade in the sharpener flat against the blade guide and use back and forth, up and down sawing motion to quickly create an edge. Do this 30 to 40 times. For final touch-up sharpening, draw the blade in a downward motion completely through and out of the sharpener. Keep the blade flat against the blade guide, steeling the blade for a razor edge. When sharpening is completed, rotate the dual rod with steeling honer facing up and increase to the next angle for steeling to achieve a razor edge. Pull your blade through another 10 to 15 strokes to achieve a shaving edge. And the Warthog did a great job reshaping the entire bevel and the edge of the blade. 260 is considered sharp for fine cuttery, but the blade isn't quite as sharp as the Smith's or the Speedy Sharp. At a price of $130 is this Ken Onion version of the Work Sharp Sharpener. You can sharpen between 15 and 30 degrees. There's a dial in the back of the sharpener to set the sharpening angle. I'm going to go ahead and set the angle to 17 degrees. The sharpener comes with 5 different belts. The Work Sharp is made in USA. To change the belt, lift and hold the belt change lever to remove the belt. Route the belt around all 3 pulleys, then release the lever. For the ultimate cutting edge, shiny sharp, the instructions recommend using the X65, the X22, and the X4 for 10 strokes each. And the stroke count is for each side of the blade. With the power off, insert the blade in the right side of the sharpening guide all the way to the start of the edge. Place knife to the bottom and outside edge of the guide slot. Pull the blade through at about 1 inch per second. Sharpen until a burr is created along the entire length of the edge. Repeat the same number of strokes on the other side of the blade sharpening guide. Once the edge is shaped and formed, continue with the finer grit belts using alternating strokes. Alternating strokes removes the burr and refines the edge faster. Unlike the other sharpeners, the Work Sharp creates a convex edge. According to Work Sharp, a convex edge provides more steel behind the edge to support it so the edge stays sharper longer. And the Work Sharp edge looks really nice, but is it as sharp as it looks? $170 is pretty good for the Work Sharp. At a price of $225 is this KME Precision Knife Sharpening System. It includes the Diamond Stone Kit. The kit I purchased comes with a base for the knife sharpener. The knife sharpener just slides right onto the dowel pin. The kit also includes 4 sharpening stones, 140, 300, 600, and 1500 grit. Opening the jaws. Loosen the 3-wing knob 1 to 2 turns. Hold the sharpener and push the spring knob forward. The jaws will open. The jaws of the clamp are marked with reference lines so blade positioning is consistently repeatable for individual knives. Try to keep the knife centered left to right. After loosening the 3-wing knob, place the blade in the clamp. Then position the spine wherever you want it clamped. Pinch or squeeze the very front edge of the jaws together with your left hand to hold the knife in position. Your fingertips should be 1/2 on the jaw and 1/2 on the knife. As you pinch the clamp tightly with your left hand, snug the 3-wing knob with your right hand. First, screw the guide rod fully and tightly into the stone carrier. Always start with the extra coarse when sharpening a knife for the first time. Secure the appropriate stone in the stone carrier. The sharpener is set to 17 degrees. Step 1. Start by working a stone forwards and backwards on the blade to shape the cutting edge. Step 2 is to finish each stone with a series of upwards into the edge strokes, rotating the blade frequently to remove any burrs. You can work from tip of the blade to the heel or vice versa. Try to sweep the stone along the length of the blade as you move the stone upward and into the cutting edge. The fine and the extra fine stones can only polish and refine the edge. The KME did an amazing job reshaping the bevel and it looks razor sharp. 90, very impressive. At a price of $380 is this Russian TSPROF knife sharpener. The TSPROF is made in Russia. The TSPROF 360 Blitz claims to be a reliable tool consisting mainly of steel and aviation aluminum. Open the hinge joint to the working position and overcoming the resistance of the spring, turn the lock counterclockwise until it stops. Insert the abrasive holder into the coupling and secure it with the screw. Remove the bushing from the hinge axis and install it in the groove of the hinge support. Align the holes of the bushing and the position of the stand. Pull the hinge down until it stops and tighten the bushing screw. Insert the assembled abrasive holder into the hinge joint. The grits include 150, 220, 400, 600, and 1000. Install the abrasive of the desired grit into the abrasive holder. Then pull the movable abrasive clamp towards the handle, insert the abrasive, and release the clamp. Set the adjusting knob to a position equal to the thickness of the abrasive. The thickness of the abrasive in millimeters corresponds to the divisions on the compensator handle. The thickness of the stone in the blank are 4 millimeters. We're set at 4 millimeters. Place the knife in the clamp so that the blade reaches the edge of the jaws as close as possible to 17 millimeters. Tighten the clamps using the Allen wrench supplied in the kit. To adjust the sharpening angle, first loosen the set screw. Sharpening angles are displayed on a scale with the icons of the main types of knives. The top knife on the scale is a fillet knife with a sharpening angle from 8 to 13 degrees. Kitchen knife, 13 to 18 degrees. Rotate the regulator knob to achieve the desired angle. I'll go ahead and adjust the sharpening angle to 17 degrees. Once the sharpening angle is selected, tighten the set screw. Let's use a digital protractor to make sure we got the right angle. First, 0 to scale. Okay, the sharpening angle is right at 17 degrees. Sharpen the knife until there's a burr along the entire cutting edge on the reverse side. Pull the abrasive holder to the side, pull the flip lever, and turn the frame over with the knife. Sharpen the second side of the knife until it also has a burr. Change the abrasive to a smaller one and repeat the operation. Adjust the knob by increasing the sharpening angle by 1 division with each change of a stone. When changing abrasives to a smaller one, go ahead and add 1 click. All the sharpening stones are 4 millimeters, so we're just going to adjust this 1 click. Change the abrasive to a smaller one and repeat the operation. There's a much steeper learning curve with this knife sharpener compared to the others, but it's simple to use after the initial learning curve. After making use of all the sharpening diamonds, the knife edge looks extremely sharp. 85 by the TSPROF, very impressive. At a price of $750 is this TORMEK T-8 water-cooled sharpening system. The TORMEK is made in Sweden. Unscrew the left-handed thread Easy Lock nut by hand. Remove the packing sleeve. Put the grindstone onto the shaft and turn the Easy Lock anti-clockwise by hand. When sharpening, the grindstone will automatically tighten to the right torque. Preparing the leather honing wheel. First, impregnate the leather with the oil included. Use approximately 2/3 of the tube. It'll soften the leather and cause the honing compound to penetrate. Apply a thin string of compound before starting the machine. Rotate the wheel by hand. Start the machine and distribute the compound by pressing a tool gently against the wheel. Let the compound penetrate the leather. Mount the water trough and raise it to the highest possible position with the screw knob. Fill the trough with the grindstone running and with the trough raised until the water reaches the max water level line inside the trough. Install the magnetic scraper on the water trough. For long tools that drip water over the edge of the lip, you can add the water chute. It'll direct water back into the trough even from the longest tools. The universal support can be placed either in the vertical sleeves or the horizontal base. These two positions enable you to grind either towards the edge or away from the edge. Unfortunately, the TORMEK doesn't come with the attachment needed for sharpening a knife. Fortunately, the Lansky seems like it'll work very well with the TORMEK. Let's set the sharpening edge using the Angle Master. The wheel is new, it is at 250 millimeters. The TORMEK has an indicator on the side of the machine which also shows the diameter of the wheel. The bevel on the knife is just too short, so we're going to use the side of the blade. Since we're using the side of the knife, instead of setting the angle to 17 degrees, we'll divide 17 degrees by 2, which is 8.5. We'll set the tool to 8.5 degrees. Perfect, the angle finder is flat across the blade edge. Begin sharpening the knife on one side and move it continuously back and forth until you form a burr. Once a burr is formed, flip the blade over. Continue moving the blade back and forth in a continuous motion. When using the honing wheel, the blade edge should be pointed away from the honing wheel. After about 5 minutes of using the honing wheel, the blade looks very sharp. Right at 100 for the TORMEK. In the last showdown competition, the Wicked Edge came out on top, but it was very close with some of the other brands. The Wicked Edge is made in USA. 6 sharpening stones, but each side has a different grit. 100, 200, 400, 600, and 800 and 1000. You can easily adjust the sharpening angle by adjusting this lever. We're going to be sharpening to 17 degrees. Attach the guide rods to the ball joints by threading them into the rod ends. Attach the vise lever to the sharpener by sliding the square hole on the vise lever block onto the square camshaft, which is located near the number 1 vise. Place your sharpener stones on the shells for easy access during sharpening. Attach the alignment guide to the depth key and insert the 2 prongs of the depth key into one of the 2 depth settings located at the top of the vise. Push the vise lever all the way down to the right side of the sharpener. Slide the 100, 200 grit handles onto the guide rods. Place the flat edge of the 100 grit stone against the heel of the knife. Do approximately 10 strokes on one side of the knife only, and then check the opposite side for a burr. Once you've successfully created a burr on one side, repeat this procedure for the other side. Once you've successfully created and detected a burr on both sides of the blade, sharpen the blade using alternating side-by-side strokes. Progress through your abrasives until you achieve the level of polish desired. And the bevel of the Wicked Edge looks terrific, but is it as sharp as the TSPROF at 85? 85, the same as the TSPROF. The TSPROF and the Wicked Edge came in on top at 85, but the KME did nearly as well at 90. Lansky 95 and TORMEK T-8 100. This is a piece of hedge apple I used as a cylinder head in a previous video. Hedge apple wood is extremely hard. I've seen sparks come off of it from trying to cut hedge apple. Blade edge durability is a big factor in choosing a knife sharpener, so up next, let's run the knives across this piece of hedge apple 30 times back and forth and see which blade holds up the best. The Smith started out at 175. Wow, 1040, the hedge apple really dulled the knife. The Speedy Sharp started out at 175. And the Speedy Sharp held an edge a lot better than the Smith's at 385. The Lansky started out at a very impressive sharpness score of 95. 135 is just as sharp as this knife was with the factory edge. And the Warthog didn't start out nearly as sharp as the other brands, and that really helped it hold its edge. 300 for the Warthog. The Work Sharp started out at 170. 185, that's only an 8% sharpness loss. Very impressive. KME started out at 90. And the KME moves into the lead with a score of 110. At 85, the TSPROF started out extremely sharp. 120 is still sharper than the factory ground edge. The TORMEK T-8 started out at 100. 135 is the same sharpness as the new blade edge. Just like the TSPROF, the Wicked Edge started out at 85. 105, very impressive. Extremely sharp knives are usually more at risk for blade edge roll and dulling, but the Wicked Edge remained the sharpest at 105 after 30 back and forth passes across the hedge apple. KME finished in second at 110, TSPROF 120, Lansky and TORMEK 135. Sharpness loss is another consideration, and the Work Sharp came out on top with only an 8% sharpness loss. Warthog didn't start off nearly as sharp, which really helped it only experience a 13% sharpness loss. KME 18%, Wicked Edge 19, TORMEK 26, and TSPROF 29%.
Hey guys, let's make a knife out of this scrap metal and then see if we can make it as sharp as a razor blade.
The Russians definitely make a very good knife sharpener, but it is a little bit more complex to set up and use than some of the other brands. Lansky, once again, does a terrific job for a budget knife sharpener, and that would definitely be my recommendation for someone just starting out. I was extremely impressed with KME. What a great knife sharpener. It is a little more expensive, but it's like a Lansky with a lot of bells and whistles. Once again, I'm very impressed with the Wicked Edge. It did a terrific job, but it also is very expensive. I always purchase all the products tested on this channel, and I never accept any sort of sponsorship or even free items from manufacturers. So just want to say thank you very much for supporting the channel. Please take care, and I look forward to next time.